we light our chalice candle with words from Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Welcome. Welcome to this, our 6th midweek reflection from the Sevenoaks Unitarian Meeting House at this time of the coronavirus lockdown. We gather virtually to take time out of our routine, to escape the news for a few brief moments, to connect to our deeper selves. Whether this is your 6th time or your first time joining us, you are welcome. Well, the weather has broken. Yesterday, after increasing temperatures and very pleasant sunshine, the rain started to fall once more. It was a shock to the system. This time of lockdown has built new routines in our lives. Whether we're protecting all by staying indoors, alone or with loved ones, or whether we're still working in some way to keep the community moving, a care worker at a hospital, a supermarket worker, utilities, post-delivery, rubbish collection. Whatever we are doing, it is inevitable our routines have changed, maybe working from home. Our routines have changed and they have become regular, more regular, over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Our world has changed as individuals, as communities, as a global population. And certainly, for me, here in North Kent, these routines have been built in sunlight and pleasant weather. The weather has become part of this new way of life. Queuing outside Tesco's in the sunshine is not a problem. Taking my daily exercise in the early morning or late afternoon has been a delight. Dare I say, there were times when I was starting to enjoy the lockdown. But now the rain has come. The walk with the dog this morning was a rude awakening for both of us. We were drenched before we reached the end of the road, and we knew there was much further to go before we might be home and dry. Yet we persevered. We walked through what seemed increasingly heavy rain and sloshed our way through the gathering puddles on the common. No risk of coming within 2 meters of anyone else. We were alone, and we were increasingly wet and cold. And then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a small sign. I thought at first it was discarded, but the closer I looked, I soon realised it was placed deliberately. Tucked into the base of the hedge, it was a small, broken tile. The tile had been painted with a rainbow, and the words written into each colour. It said, quite simply, "After the storm comes the rainbow." After the storm comes the rainbow. I have no idea who might have placed it there, and the timing was perfect. In the midst of the miserable downpour was an anonymous reminder that after the storm comes the rainbow. Now, it's a well-worn image, and the image often comes from the Bible. The unlikely story of Noah ends with a rainbow signalling the end of the flood. But people for thousands of years will have recognised that rainbows often appear at the end of a storm. As the emerging sun catches the last of the rain, the beauty of the colourful arch appears to herald the better times ahead. We are all in need of rainbows right now. We are all living in metaphorical storms, whether through direct experience of COVID-19 or simply through the restriction on our everyday lives. Yet there is hope. and the rainbow as a reminder of that hope. And we are seeing rainbows all around. It seems every other window or fence panel carries a rainbow of thanks for the NHS doctors, nurses, carers who are giving their all, often sadly literally, to help bring us through this time. Rainbows of thanks and rainbows of hope. Hope does not tell us we should not be worried. Hope does not give us false promise that everything will be okay. Things will change. Some things for the worse, but others for the better. And hope does remind us that there is a chance to start again. After the storm has washed through, after the dust has been rinsed away, there is always hope for the future. Renewed, refreshed. Now there is a saying in the Chinese oracle, the Tao Te Ching, that says, "To know tranquility is to embrace all. To embrace all is to be just, and justice is the foundation for wholeness." Now I find that reminder of the rainbow after the storm is that nudge towards tranquility. Tranquility is that place of shelter during and after the storm. We're mostly in the same place as before, and both good and bad things will probably continue to happen. And the storms we seek shelter from, both the real ones and the metaphorical ones brought by COVID-19 and others, is not necessarily going to preclude some amazing moment of creation and wonder. It may not herald a new dawn, but it can. We know that storms are not eternal. Each one will stop at some point. There may have been some damage done. There may have been a resolute clearance of debris. Yet as we emerge from the shelter of that storm, we're able to see the chinks of light, of hope, of calm, that start to shine through. But, and this is the important part, we are better prepared to accept this fact and to help make the world better. To remember the things that have been proven really important in this storm, in this crisis. Remembering the rainbows of hope that brought us through, and the need to preserve and cherish them for the time after. The storm is the reminder that we might use some time aside, some time of reflection and peace, some time to reconcile us to this world in which we're living, to make peace with it. It's hard to recognise sometimes that the storm we are living through will end. There will be a new beginning. There is hope. Let us come now to a time of stillness and quiet and reflection. As you settle your bodies, perhaps focusing on your breath, closing your eyes maybe. I shall strike the singing bowl, and there will be stillness and there will be silence. And that silence will be broken with music to continue our reflections. As we settle our bodies, as we enter a time of stillness together, as we reflect on hope, on the good we seek in the new world after the storm, on the part we might play in bringing that good. After the storm comes the rainbow. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.